Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. We are still in the Yucatan Peninsula. This is channeling number 5. There have been so many who have asked, what is the purpose, really, of channeling? In this session, there are 3 who have channeled for you. Human beings filled with the Spirit in a specific way that would bring you so many kinds of energies, but all from the other side of the veil. It represents, therefore, a connection that you crave. And you crave it because you're not getting it. Not really, not getting it from any other place. Now that's a perception. And dear ones, if you want to know what channeling is also about, it's knowledge, core truth, filled with that which is instructions that say, this is normal. And the connection that you can have is just like the ones in front of you. What is happening on the planet is the subject always of Kryon: change, movement, cycles. And those changes and those movements and those cycles are all about an energy that is consciousness. Some have said they don't understand what that energy is. And they would then put into that word energy what it means in 3 dimensions. And you'd be wrong. Suffice it to say that consciousness is one of the largest push-pull energies in the universe. Consciousness is not simply that which you've defined as energy. It is something that can move physics because it is part of creation. The consciousness you have as a human being is something I told you yesterday was variable. And yet those who study consciousness and the ways of thinking on the planet believe that it is static. That is to say, it is what it is and it does not change. And the controversy is this: it is changing. And now you realize that it's not simply an energy as you would define it on the planet. It might even be a dimensional shift. Consciousness is far larger than you think. But the biggest thing right now that you need to understand about a changing consciousness is one word: connection. It starts to reveal that you have a two-way street of information, of emotion, of love, of intellect with the image of God. I want to reveal yet again that the indigenous of the planet, the ancients of the planet, seem to know this. Built into their cosmology, it is. Most of them will have defined levels of consciousness. They'll call them certain other kinds of things, but it's awareness. Truly awareness. More than 3 or 4 ancient tribes and systems and ways of defining cosmology on this planet have humans all starting underground. It's not a 3-dimensional idea, it's a metaphor. Whether it happens in Peru or happens in the Yucatan Peninsula or with the Navajo. You start underground. That's a metaphor for a low consciousness human being. And you come out of that low consciousness like a birth into awareness, into a school perhaps of lifetimes, where every single one of them gives you the opportunity for greater awareness. Some have up to 9 levels of awareness. Some have 7. Some have more. But the fact is, the idea is that you can climb that ladder of understanding of the connection to spirit. Every single human has the ability to move up into other awareness levels. Every human by themselves can move up to the place where they start to knock on the door of the veil itself and move into another dimension. That comes from the ancients. That comes from those who lived here. Now wind your way to 2019 and tell me what you see. The major religions of the planet, those belief systems, basically have 2 levels. You're included or you're not. How do you like it so far? You've completely and totally lost the idea that every human by themselves has the image of love and compassion of God in them, and through their own efforts and awarenesses can shine light or not, and go up those levels or not. But you're told today, dear ones, that there is no connection. There's no connection at all unless you do this or that. Then you're included. And then, of course, if you're among those who are not included, there's punishment for not being included. That's the children's version of a beautiful, beautiful awareness system. That's the children's version. And the ancients who lived here had the adult version. Connection is what is starting to happen on this planet that is different than it has ever been before. The channels you hear today, one by one, are giving you the same information. Gentle, beautiful, loving, compassionate information that says you are enabled to go into these levels of consciousness by yourself and start feeling the connection. That's where consciousness is going in this new time. Yesterday we told you this. We gave examples of this. But it's more than that. It's an explosion to enlightenment, dear ones. When you pass a certain level, it's like a spark comes into your life. It's like, oh my. And some humans crumble at the truth until they can understand that in every cell of their body is the Creator. Some stand tall and move through it, depending upon how surprising it is to you. And the biggest surprise that I've ever given to you in the 30 years isn't a surprise to an indigenous or an ancient, but it is to you. That you arrived on this planet totally, complete, magnificent, and ready to go. There was no dark energy that laid on you from past performance. Even karma was simply part of the learning of awareness. You arrived pristine and beautiful and pure, and you still do. I'll tell you, dear ones who sit in the chairs or listen to me, if anyone tells you differently, they may believe it. But it doesn't make spiritual sense at all for the Creator. In the Creator's image to put you on this earth hobbled and broken and dirty. There's no reasoning for this. Magnificent you are. And those who may sit in front of me feel that enablement is theirs because they have been through lifetime after lifetime of experience to bring them to the chair or to hear these words. And they intuitively know it. Those who hear these things for the first time from this voice sometimes are touched. In a way they ask, why am I here? What am I here for? I believe this. What am I here for? And I'll say what I said yesterday. You're here to find this out. Not to do something, but to be something. And what you're going to be is an anchor, a lighthouse for the rest of the planet, who also has the ability to connect. The last channel of the day, I'll talk about the human soul. How could you possibly have a divine soul and believe we came in dirty? Doesn't make sense. So if you see what I'm saying, or you hear what I'm saying, and you want to understand this fully, you came ready to receive this information. Some of you are ringing with it right now. It's true. The light that you carry is the core truth that the indigenous here knew. What they did within their cultures, not all things appropriate. No culture is perfect. But the shamanic energy and the cosmology is what you're looking at. And that often told of a true and complete system of God, filled with compassion and love and levels of awareness, multidimensionality, healing. So many of the things that are not part of any real belief system today. I close with this. There is no system of God. Controversial, there are no rules of God. What there is instead are levels of love. As the human being with free choice becomes more aware, all of the things that you would define as rules are intuitively given of how to treat each other, of how to work the puzzle of your own culture, of integrity and what to do next, the best way to live, the right way to think, all intuitive, filled with light, because that's the image of God. So you might say the image that you came in with is intuitively yours, innately yours, to discover the things that are already yours to discover. It's inside you. It's not on a tablet somewhere. It's inside. It's not an obscure teaching that you're going to have to study, dear ones. It really isn't. It's inside. The ancient core truths of everything you ever needed to know is built into your DNA. On purpose, ready for discovery. And all it requires is connection. Are you ready to connect? You wouldn't be sitting here unless the answer was yes. Dear Spirit, you might say, I am not just willing to connect, I am connected. Help me get out of that mire of belief that says I'm not, or I can't, or I never will. For those things are the children's version and they're not true anymore. Just like certain mythologies you were given as a child, you learn differently as you grew up, and now you're growing up. Be connected this day in a way you never have before, because once you're connected, you're always connected, dear ones. Free choice, that can take you backwards if you want to, but then you're in denial of being connected. You are. These things I give you are true and given in love. I'll be back. And so it is.